Well, everyone knows that guns like the Phantom, the Operator, and the Spectre are all insane guns. What about the middle of the pack guns? What about the guns that are actually better than they first seem? What about the top 5 underrated guns? You know what? Let's break them down. The top 5 underrated guns that you should not feel ashamed of using and that you should start using right now. If you like Valorant content, smash that subscribe button, but let's jump right into it, shall we? Now, before we jump into the top 5 list, we definitely got to talk about my honorable mention, which is the shotgun Bucky for 900 creds. Now, Bucky can one-shot from close range, but unlike traditional shotguns, it actually has that perfect long-range kill as well with its alternate fire in the body. Practice in a training room to master this alternate fire kill distance. It's actually similar to something like a Roadhog alternate fire if you ever played that, but essentially there's a convergence point range where the weapon will actually do just enough damage to one-shot fairly simply. Now, a 900 cred shotgun that can one-shot from close range and one-shot from far range, that seems pretty insane, but it doesn't stop there. The Bucky can actually let you jump and shoot. That's right. If you think someone's hiding around the corner or peeking angle, you can actually speed, run, and jump and still be fairly accurate with the primary fire in the Bucky, so it's great for peeking corners close range. The only downside about the Bucky is its slow fire rate, but it vastly outweighs it with a lot of its upsides. So definitely don't be afraid to whip this weapon out. It just ekes out the list in our honorable mentions. Now, moving on to number 5, the 5th most underrated gun in the game is the Guardian at 2,700 credits. And I know what you're gonna say. The Guardian's pretty good. We all know it's pretty good, but I think that people are grossly underestimating it compared to a lot of the rifles in the game. Guardian's a gun that doesn't take a great amount of recoil control, and it can one-shot headshot from 50 meters away. It is probably one of the best scoped weapons besides the sniper rifle, and it's pretty good for walking around the map, then holding shift and hitting your shot. It has pretty insane stats, and I think the biggest underrated aspect about the Guardian is if you win the first round, it's fairly simple for you to buy a Guardian plus light armor. This means that you could not get one-shotted by the Ghost while at the same time taking these extremely long sight lines. It can be a weapon that can be easily accessed after a first round win and can scale even when the enemy saves the preceding round and then buys better guns. You can definitely win matchups against far better guns with the Guardian just due to its one-shot potential, and I think for holding angles alone, it's definitely deserving of this list, and I think it's a very powerful gun that you should definitely not be afraid to use or pick up in general, and almost better than every SMG. I would probably pick it up over every single gun besides the Operator, the Vandal, or the Phantom. Now let's talk about the next underrated gun, number 4 on our list, which at 200 creds coming in is the Shorty. Now, the Shorty, as you know, takes a pistol spot and is a double barrel shotgun that can one-shot enemies. Yeah, that's right, it can one-shot. I love the Shorty for several different reasons. The first way is setting up maybe a trap wire play or a close range box spread, something like staying on top of a box as Jet. You can easily kill an enemy with both shots, and if you literally put that barrel into an enemy's character, you can actually one-shot them with the Shorty, which is very powerful for only 200 creds. Now, another underrated aspect about this gun is it takes up a pistol slot. Yeah, so if you're playing with something like an Operator, but you think enemies are gonna flank you, say you're someone like Cypher or Jet, you could set up a scenario where you have a Shorty plus a sniper. It's not that much to buy, but it gives you a little bit of wiggle room if enemies want to take the fight very close to you, where the op does almost nothing. So I think all in all, it could be useful for cheesing some kills, useful for surprising an enemy and taking their guns, and useful to be used with an op. That means that it has a lot of different uses, and for only 200 creds, you can't get much better than that in a pinch. Now, moving on to the third underrated gun on our list is the Marshall Sniper Rifle at 1100 creds. Marshall Sniper Rifle is great because of its ability to trade up for so cheap. Now, yes, hitting headshots on Marshall is not easy. I know this. I know it's not easy hitting headshots. Even I am very bad at it in general. The Marshall is not the easiest gun in the world to hit, but here's the thing. Hitting headshots can allow you to win matchups against any gun in the game. Better guns, doesn't matter. You win the matchup just like that, just hit the headshot. But being able to hit 2 body shots and win a matchup, even against full armor, pretty good. The Marshall is actually a great economy weapon, especially if you're holding long sightlines, and I think it's really underrated. On top of that, it feels easier to use than the op. I don't know if that's just me, but when I use the Marshall, it feels more comfortable, less hefty, and I really like the feel of the gun, and for so cheap, you really can't go wrong on this. This can be a way that you actually win an econ round, or if you want to save up for the better guns, but you don't want to give up a round, Marshall could be that X Factor gun that if you clutch up with it, you pop off with it, and you're holding long sightlines, you could definitely carry, get some kills, and it could definitely be worth the bang for its buck. Now moving on to number 2, the second most underrated gun in the entire game, popping it out at 1,500 credits, is the Judge shotgun. Yeah, we got another shotgun on the list, but I think that this one is so incredible in a lot of different situations. Now, Judge, of course, like most shotguns, has a pretty close range, but unlike the Bucky, it has no alternate fire or anything that can fire from long range. It's semi-auto and it fires so fast. Now, why does this matter? Have you ever peeked an angle from close and there's multiple enemies? You see maybe 1, 2, 3. And if you have something like a Shorty, you might be able to kill one, but then you die. You have something like a Bucky, you might be able to kill one person and then you're sure to die. The Judge can completely slaughter enemies. You end up anywhere within that 10 feet range of enemies, you're just gonna annihilate them with the Judge. Don't even get me started on if you're a Viper in your ultimate or if you're an Omen pushing through smokes. It is one of the best push weapons. It's one of the best anti-economy weapons. If you are at an economy disadvantage from the enemy, but you buy this gun and you play in your effective range, setting up scenarios where you can really utilize the close range aspect of the gun, you can win tons of duels with it and really flip a round you should have lost. The enemies have Vandals and Phantoms, and you have a couple of Judges, but you just slaughter them. And that is the power of the Judge. I think it's extremely underrated and very powerful. And don't forget all the other tips I gave you about the Bucky. They still apply for this gun, such as jumping around corners and things like that. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, what is the best, most underrated gun in the entire game? And this one might surprise you or it might not. It's actually the Bulldog at 2,100 credits. Now, the Bulldog, as you know, is a weapon that fires very similar to an SMG when you're not firing down the scope, but it's a 3-shot burst assault rifle when you are. Now, the reason that the Bulldog is underrated is for 2 big reasons. 1, its versatility, and 2, the fact that it's pinpoint accurate if you learn how to control it without aiming down the sight. Bulldogs can actually dominate. I don't know if you've been watching streamers or any high-level player, but if you can learn the recoil control and you try to keep your spread weapon, your spread bullets to 3 or 4 tops. You don't try to go crazy with the Bulldog and control it. You just do small controlled bursts with it. You can really just destroy enemies, even from mid to long range with it. I was really surprised by how lethal this gun is. And of course, if you aim down the sight with that burst fire, you can really take some of these longer duels if you have advantage, if you're already peeking a sight. So the fact that it has all that versatility, it can clutch up a close range fight from mid to close range. It has that long range potential if you need it. And it's extremely cheap, only 2,100 credits, but it can be winning fights against guns that are really way more expensive. I mean, you can win a fight against a Vandal or a Phantom with this gun, and that's an extra 800 credits that those weapons cost. So really, I do think that the Bulldog is underrated. It might even be underpriced, and I definitely would start practicing with it and get good with it because you're going to see it a lot more, especially when ranked mode comes out. People are going to be running the Bulldog far more than they are right now. Do not sleep on this weapon. It is my most underrated weapon in the entire game. I probably rated it wrong when I did my weapons tier list. I'm going to admit to it now because I think that the Bulldog is insanely powerful in hindsight. Anyways, if you agree or disagree with my underrated weapon list, I'm definitely waiting for you Aries spammers down below. Definitely let me know. And if there's any other videos that you want to see, I would love to start working on it. So please, please, please smash that subscribe button and let me know down below so I can get started. Get to work, man. Anyways, that's all we got. I'm Coach Mills, and until next time,